Hey, it's Loren Lahav. I am so glad you are here. This podcast is about keeping it real, helping you own your worth, find your voice, and step into your truly badass and beautiful life that you deserve. Every week, I'm bringing you stories, tools, and conversations that inspire, connect, and engage. We're going to laugh, we're going to get real, and we're going to dive into what it really takes for you to live a life that you're proud of, whether it's on stage, in the boardroom, or right at home. So grab your favorite beverage, turn up the volume, and let's dive in because it's your time to own it, live it, and love it. Welcome, everyone, to the Loren Lahav Podcast, and where I am interviewing extraordinary women, actually outstanding women, navigating impact and transformation. And let me tell you, our guest today, I don't even know where to start with her because she's done so many extraordinary things, but more importantly, she is just the most wow woman, is what I can say about her. When I first met her, I fell in love with her. And that's why I felt like I had to bring her here today. And we were in the car talking about, well, what are we going to talk about today? And I was listening to all the different conversations, and I was like, we could go here, we could go here, we could go here. And I did not give her any clues of what we were going to talk about. Yet, when we were in the car, I was watching everybody around us when we were headed down to the studio and how in awe they were of her story, which I love when she tells this story. Because I think more than anything, it reminds us of how much we are capable of when we think we don't know the answers to things. We do know the answers to things. So tell everybody a little bit about you, Stacie, and then I would love if you shared the story.
Okay, great. So, fifth generation San Franciscan, and I moved to Southern California, did my undergraduate work at UC Santa Barbara in accounting, economics, and sociology. Have an MBA in marketing and a master's in information systems. So my background's in technology and finance and marketing, if you look that way. And that's where I've been in the world shortly after, a few years after college, I started my first company, and I've been starting them since.
And how many companies has that been?
I think right now I'm looking at 6 or
Wow.
7.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So first of all, what gave you, it sounds, like you said, there's a lot we could talk about here. We could cover a lot. But I would love to know a little bit even more about your backstory, about how you grew up. It sounds like you had a lot of confidence coming out of school to be able to say, I started my first company. Was it the environment? What was it that gave you that confidence to even start your first company?
It's a really great question. I think it's my mom as a role model. So my mom was just, I don't know if we can say this word, badass.
Oh, of course you can say badass. You're on our podcast, Badass and Beautiful.
My mom was badass. Like she was, and she passed away recently. And at her funeral, I found out she had a full ride scholarship to Berkeley.
Wow.
And I never knew. But it's like she was just like, she was mostly the breadwinner in the family. For a long time, she was a real estate broker. But she did other stuff. She was a paralegal. She was just like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. I don't know, I'll figure it out. And that was my role model that women are powerful. Mm-hmm. Like women are powerful.
Women are badass.
Why
do you feel that that word is a little bit of taboo? Like, can I say it? What do you think women believe where they feel like they cannot even say that word badass? Because it's interesting.
I think it's like, I wasn't sure if I could say the word ass on camera. I think that's the part. I do believe women are badass. Absolutely. Like, men are awesome, right? But I believe women are going to be who changes the world.
Yep.
Women are going to bring peace to this planet. Because when women come together,
Yep.
they look after each other. And when women look after each other, they look after others. And they look after the planet. And it's just, they're very expansive by nature. We're also expansive by the way that we're socialized. Guys are socialized, sports, competitive. We're socialized to kind of look after each other.
Yes.
So there's not like this one's bad or good. We all have different skill sets, right? But I think with the way women are and how they're that expansiveness, and in addition to, they're always kind of looking around, is everyone okay? How can I help? And I think you put that together and you add what's going on, worldwide, there's some places that we can make a difference.
Well, they say that how you empower women is how you determine the success of a country.
Oh, wow.
I remember my dear friend, he talked about that because I was doing some work in Malawi. And now you look at Malawi, when I first went there, it was 20 plus years ago, and now how Malawi has actually grown because of so many great projects that have happened there. But it actually leads to the story, because that is what got you to start your company that I want you to share the story about, was your friend.
Yeah.
You were looking after your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had a lot of girlfriends that we'd all been looking for the love of our life. And we've been looking for a while. We've been engaged a couple times. It didn't work out. We were sad that it didn't work out, but we kept looking. And, she met him, and he was just amazing, lovely. He was a school teacher. He was just like, it was the love of her life. It was her soulmate. And a week after the wedding, he was shot. We don't even know by who, but he was shot and killed. And I was like, how can I help my friend? How can I help my friend? She spent her whole life. At this point, I think she was mid to late 40s.
Wow.
And how can I help her? And I was a scuba instructor. I was running my companies, but I also became a scuba instructor. And so I thought, I'll go over there. She lives in Hawaii. I'll teach her how to scuba dive. When she's learning to scuba dive, she won't be thinking, my husband's dead, right? So we went and we did a bunch of scuba diving, and we were at a bar restaurant having some dinner at the bar. And she's like, I love scuba diving. This is really fun, but the equipment is so heavy.
Yes.
What do I do about this? Like, I love this thing, but this thing's just not working for me. And I was like, grabbed a cocktail napkin and I waved the bartender down and like, can I borrow a pen? And I said, well, if something looked like this and it did this and then it maybe did that and then it collapsed like this, and I drew it. And I was like, that would make a difference if there was a product like this. And I put it in my purse and I went back home. And then 2 years later, I was at an event where someone was talking about, we keep thinking someday. Someday I'm going to do that. Someday I'm going to do that. And I had recently survived a brain tumor. And I was like, we don't know how many somedays we have left. And I'm like, you know what? I could fall flat on my face. I could lose all the money I put into this. I don't care. I'm doing it. And I went home from that event. I stayed up all night. I always had the name Beachbody in my head. And so I looked it up. It wasn't taken. I mean, it was taken, but I put an offer in to buy it. And I think it was $3,000 to buy the URL. And so I bought the URL. And then I stayed up all night researching, is there anything like this? And I found out there wasn't. I started working on the patent. So I had no background in products. I had no background in CAD. I had no backgrounds in plastics and metal and everything that goes into something like that. And with scuba diving, you're dealing with salt water, you're dealing with a lot. So there's a lot of things that you need to learn. But in 2 months, I did all of that and showed up at the big international trade show with a prototype, started shipping a couple months after that, but was selected one of the best products of the year. And what's nice about telling the story, and what I want to do is inspire people. If I can do this with no background in any of that, so fast, I want to open people's eyes to what they can do. There's so many people not giving up on their dreams.
Yep.
I can't do that. It's never been done before. It's going to take too much money. I could fall on my face.
Yeah. So I want to break it down for a second. So here I have a question.
Yeah.
Where did that cocktail napkin live for 2 years?
In a plastic bag in my desk. I didn't even know it was there until I came home that night because I hadn't looked for it for 2 years.
So when you came home from the event?
Yeah.
And was it like staring at you? I'm just
I
curious
had to
about
search a little bit for it because I had moved a bunch of times since then in the last 2 years. I didn't know where it was, but it was right in my desk.
It's right there, right? Like sometimes we talk about that everything that we need is right there in front of us. The diamonds that we're looking for, sometimes they're right there in front of us. And then when you did the drawing on the napkin, I wonder how many businesses are born from the napkins, right? Like that's where they usually happen, the great ideas, when you're sitting at a restaurant and draw it out. But was she with you?
With me when?
When you were drawing out the design.
When we were at the bar, what's on the napkin, I was talking her through like, well, I think if something was like this, and if it did this, but then the wheels would have to collapse because you'd want it to go with you on the dive. Because one of the things is you don't want to leave it on the shore because stuff gets stolen.
Right.
It's one of the things like people tend to make 2 trips and then stuff is not there when they come back. You want to be able to make sure you could travel with it. So it has to be lightweight. You want to be able to put it on your carry-on. You've got to be able to compact it. Like it's got to be able to work with different tank sizes. So it had all these components. It had to work in salt water. It had to work with UV rays hitting it. It had to dry quickly. It had all these things. So I had to learn about metal. I had to learn about real plastics. And I think the funny thing is, and I don't know if you know,
I'm going to interrupt for a second. You didn't have to. You chose to. You chose to. I think that for so many of us, I know I have a couple other things I want to ask. Yeah. One, how did she feel as you were drawing that out and seeing this come to life? How did she feel?
I don't think I've ever asked her. I don't think I ever asked her about that. But I know she wasn't sad. Mm-hmm. I know she wasn't crying.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the important part.
Right. And that's why I was just wondering like how she felt during that time. And when you decided, like it's interesting, like your language, because you're like, I had to, because you will find a way. Like when I hear your language, I hear you, a lot of people might be listening and be going, man, that took a lot of chutzpah to do that. Right. Mm-hmm. But you said, I'm doing this no matter what. So what would you say to someone to take it from, oh, well, I'm going to have to learn this. I'm going to have to learn this. I'm going to have to learn this. Forget it. That seems like a lot. What takes people from, oh, I have to, I'm just doing it. What would you say?
Tenacity. I mean, I was just like, I'm doing this and I don't care if I fall on my face. So there wasn't something's going to scare me. Because there was a bunch of stuff that happened during those 2 months that most people would have given up. And I think the one part that I don't think that you know about that's kind of funny is, so I took it to Bali to test for the first time. And so I took it down these steps. And each step, a different part fell off. And by the end of it, there was nothing left. And the guys I were with were like so upset. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. It was so awesome because it's like what I learned is, okay, that particular plastic didn't work. That didn't, it was early on in the prototyping phase, like what doesn't work, right? But I wasn't bothered by it.
So I want everybody to really hear everything that she's saying, because there's so many beautiful lessons in everything that you're saying. Most people would be like, see, this doesn't work. Ugh. Whatever, I'm not going to do this. Everybody told me I wasn't going to be able to do this, but you chose my favorite line, and I'm sure I've said it many times on the podcast, is Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah.
And so when you choose to look at that, or what advice would you give to people about how you do that, right? Because a lot of people either listen to the noise around them, see, you couldn't do that, see, that was like a silly idea. What advice would you give them when those voices pop up in their head and they might not have the reference of a win, or they might be so influenced by their environment, or maybe have the wrong people around them? What would you say to them?
We are meaning-making machines, and we know no other. And if you know that you're a human being and your default is to make stuff mean something, mm-hmm. you can choose what you make it mean. I could have easily made it mean, see, I didn't know what I was doing. See, I shouldn't have done this. Because that's definitely the guys around me were making it mean that. They were like picking up the little pieces and trying to hand me little pieces of plastic and like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I'm not. This is awesome. And the thing is, it's like, I didn't make it mean something about me. I didn't make it mean something about the future. I didn't make it mean something about the product, because integrity is my core value. And I needed to create a product that was going to be good for people, safe for people, would do exactly what I said it was going to do. I wanted it made in the U.S. That was important to me because the U.S. was going through a hard time at that time, because 2008, 2009. I wanted to, and because I did that, I saved at least one company that was going to go under because I had one of the components made there. So it's like you have a bigger thing that you're going for. I wanted to make scuba diving available to everyone. And these dives that are shore dives, I wanted to be available to everyone. I wanted to be available to people that have disabilities. that have a bad back, that, there are people that teach people with disabilities how to scuba dive. And I dove with a guy who was in a wheelchair once, and it was one of the things that kind of pulled me towards this, to make this available, because when you're in the water, it doesn't matter that your legs don't work.
Yeah.
It really does not. So now one person can take 2 sets of gear as the other person gets down with their wheelchair. Someone who, like for me, does underwater photography, I can now carry my camera gear.
Underwater photography or scuba diver or an inventor. I'm sitting here and I was like, what hasn't she done? But it's interesting. I love this. Like, I'm learning even more, and I've heard this story I make you tell the story every time, right? But what I love is you're so curious, like, who else can I help? Like, what is the question that you ask? Like, as I share with you, my question, I think that's why we were attracted to each other. My question is, if I say yes to this, am I staying true to myself? What's the question for you that comes up? Is it, what can I learn? Who can I help? Like, what do you think the question is that drives so much tenacity and action for you?
Will this make a difference for people?
I love that.
Yeah, because and it's one of the things I realized today is who I am and what I'm about is creating a movement of people looking after each other.
I love that. Wow.
And having a world where people look after each other. And I'm starting with women, making sure they're looking after themselves, and then having women look after each other.
Yep.
And then expanding it from there. And I do believe if we do this by 2030, we will have a drastically different world. No war, peace. And what gets birthed is the creativity to create a world that serves everyone.
Yeah.
And you've heard no man left behind. I believe in no woman left behind.
Amen. Amen. I love that. Well, you are such an amazing soul. I'm beyond blessed to know you. You just heard about the movement. I think that I love having you in my life. And so I ask everybody this question. So if you've listened to the podcast before, you might be prepared for this one question. I get everybody prepared for this one question. What's one thing that you do every day to stay true to yourself?
That's a great question. And I did not know about the question, so I'm just going to say that. So I was not prepared. The one thing I do to stay true to myself, I don't do it every day, but I definitely meditate at least once a week, and I go over all my goals, and I look into myself. I call out to, and I think everyone has different belief systems, so whatever the belief system is, to call out for support. And am I doing the right thing? Is this the right path? What can you tell me that I need to see that I can't see? That's a blind spot that can bring this vision further. Where can I make a difference? Who needs help? So, but and I think every day it comes up in little pieces. It's not that dedicated meditation time, but it's, when I'm out cycling or I'm making my, protein shake. But there's stuff like I have a protein shake every day. That's one thing I do every day that, because I need to be 100% strong because I plan on living way past 120, 150 or more. My grandma was 106 and she had nothing wrong with her. No medications, nothing. So I already have the genetics, and with everything that's happening with longevity, I need to be here for others.
Well, and I think it's going to be a lot more than 120 as well for you, because I was sharing once that when I had I met somebody that was at Johns Hopkins, they used to talk about the bicycle. The bicycle is what do you eat and how do you move, but now they call it the tricycle. What do you eat, how you move, and what do you think? And you definitely have a way of thinking that's we got a lot of people to serve here in this world, and so let's go beyond.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. How can people find out more about you, contact you on social, be a part of your world? I know you're always looking for how can you serve, and people have got all these great ideas, so I'd love to share that with everybody as well.
I think there's 2 places. There's stacyhill.com, and then one thing
You've got stacyhill.com?
Yep.
Okay. y'all. That's good.
And the other thing is,
I mean, how many Stacy Hills are there?
I don't know.
A lot, but you were smart and you were anticipating that you would need to get your name. I mean, my name's a little bit different, easier. I mean, a little bit easier to get than Stacy Hill, I would think. But you anticipated. That's interesting,
Yeah,
right?
got
That's
it
a
years
big
ago.
thing. Yep.
And I think the other thing is humanityandai.org are the kind of the two places, because there's a bunch of us working together to make sure that the world is protected. You know, I'm not saying AI is bad. I love AI. But how do we do it in a way that takes care of people and takes care of the environment?
Love that.
So those are the two places.
Love that. And I'm going to ask you one more question. Usually, as I said, I end with one thing you do to stay true to yourself. What's one homework assignment you would give everybody after they listen to this podcast?
Go home, get real quiet, get by yourself, get a piece of paper, get a pen. Close your eyes, just go deep in yourself, and just think about, if I could have the life exactly the way I wanted it, what would it look like? And the second question is, what are the dreams that I gave up on a long time ago? And start getting resourceful, finding the people that can help you, finding your inside that can help you, and know you're bigger than you know.
I love it. And that's a wrap on another episode of the Loren Lahav Podcast. I hope you're walking away feeling totally inspired, energized, and ready to take on whatever comes your way. If you enjoyed our conversation today, wait till you hear what's coming up next. Speaking of which, mark your calendars, because something incredible is happening March the 7th through the 9th. The Own It experience is coming. And trust me, you don't want to miss out on this transformational event. We're talking breakthrough moments, powerful connections, and tools that you can truly own your journey. Can't wait until then. Here's how you can stay connected. Make sure you subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Just search for the Loren Lahav Podcast, and don't forget to tap that follow button. For all the behind the scenes goodness and daily inspiration, follow me on Instagram at I am Loren Lahav. And if you're loving what you're hearing, spread the love. Share this episode with a friend who needs to hear this message. Until then, remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and you got this. See you on the next episode.